Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of the Economic Times Cutting Try Stories, an initiative by ET Edge. I'm your host, Dimple Bajwa, and I bring to you conversations with business leaders where we discuss their professional and personal journeys, their hobbies, career experiences, sources of inspiration, among other engaging topics. Cutting Try series is a platform that identifies leaders and brings out their traits, their routines, and their thought processes that makes them stand out in the industry across various sectors and verticals. And today I have been joined by Mr. Megan Nandgaonkar, Deputy CIO Global Delivery at Fujitsu. He is known for his excellent business development and people development skills. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity, Dimple.
So, you have had an expansive career and have worked with some big organizations, like Tata Infotech and HCL Technologies, to name a few. You have also donned several leadership roles and have experience of more than 2 decades. And you've been with Fujitsu for over a decade now. It is great to have someone with such vast experience here with us today. So, before we dive into questions, like your professional journey and your career choices, I would like to know about your early days in school or maybe in college, where we learn the early life lessons. Do you have any lesson or learning from those days, that has stayed on with you forever?
Um, yes, I think all of us, as we grow up, there are a lot of things that we pick up along the way, and that becomes part of your personality and who you are. So, has been absolutely the case for me as well. I grew up in a fairly small town in Maharashtra. Our family was a family of teachers, so everybody
Okay.
in my earlier generation is a teacher, mostly science, mathematics. So you can imagine how it was growing up. It was always about being curious, questioning anything and everything, uh, including every belief and every routine that you have there. So it was allowed that you could question it and you have to answer
Right.
things logically. So and that has really been part of my personality as I went into professional career as well. So if I really look at what that background meant, is that one of my very early memories is of my grandmother. So she was in her 80s, and she had barely had any chance to go to a school when she was growing up. And still, I would see her spending at least 6 to 8 hours every day reading something.
Right.
And I still remember asking her that when did you learn how to read?
Right.
Could not write, obviously, but so she continued that routine all the way into her 90s before she passed away. But that has had a very, very deep impression on my thought process generally. As in, she would always say that it is never too late to learn, and you are never too old to learn.
Right.
I think that has, so if you look at my professional journey also, something like that has helped me take on different responsibilities and roles in domains which I would have probably never encountered in the past. Very, very easily, because it's a fundamental tenet that I as a person go with, that it is possible to learn everything. Uh,
Right.
and I think those are the kind of lessons that stay. And another, if I was to really remember, and out of so many things that you recollect when you think about your childhood, uh, I remember that when I went to college, I was supposed to go and go to a different place from my town, and was going to live in a hostel. So, of course, my father wanted to come with me, drop me there, and
Right.
but my mom was very insistent that he needs to start his journey right from the door of the house. So he has to learn his way out and manage it. So back in 80s, I took all of my stuff, and they just said bye at the door, and the entire journey that way started on my own. And I think that gave me a different perspective about how to manage independently. And over a period of my professional life, then I've never worried about going somewhere and thinking about how would I really manage myself, or is it going to be okay or not. So I think these are two things which I can really pinpoint
Right.
on what has really stayed with me and what has helped me in my life.
So I have two things to ask over here. You said you are from a family of teachers. So did this thought ever cross your mind that you also maybe wanted to be a teacher?
So my as in I am a teacher by nature. So whether it is at office, and sometimes my team probably gets even tired of that, but uh, as in I do end up talking to them as if I am a teacher and I'm coaching them in some form or other. Same thing happens at home, and I'm really, really hoping that when I retire, I will actually go back and take up some form of teaching as a passion after retirement.
Wow, wonderful. So you have that thing in you, the teaching thing, you have it in you. Right, right. Awesome. And you said you've experienced the hostel life. So I am from a hostel myself. I've lived in a hostel for 12 years. I did my schooling from Nainital and Missouri. Just want to know, how many years did you spend in a hostel and how was your experience there?
So I did most of my college education and stayed in a hostel. So
Mhm.
first few months you kind of take some time to get used to that environment, but
Right.
then after that I feel that it almost becomes addictive. So you really don't want to consider any other option.
Right, right.
And phenomenal days, as in half an hour would be insufficient if I was to just talk about what happened.
I know, I know, I know. Those days stay with you for a lifetime. Well, that was a very interesting to know. And you also talked about your grandmother somehow, influencing you on reading and studying and everything. So, apart from her, who has your key influencer been in school or maybe in family? Anyone from your faculty, teachers? That one person who has guided you throughout your education and your career.
It's difficult to put a name there. Again, by nature, I probably spend every day, every minute, trying to pick up what I can learn from anyone that I'm interacting with, and that's probably happening as we speak, even now. Uh, that's just ingrained in the way I work. So it's difficult that way to pinpoint one name or so. So beyond my the experience that I spoke about for my grandmother, one of the key influencers in my life has actually been my own mother. Uh, she, as in amongst many other things, when I grew up, I was fairly good in studies, and every now and then I would come back and show her that okay, now I've stood first somewhere, and the way she would handle that would be that for me, if you have worked hard and consistently, and you fail or you pass or you stand first, all of those outcomes are absolutely wonderful. Uh, if you have not worked hard and you stand first, it's of very little consequence to me. And that has been at that age, you would actually wonder, as in, why would your mom think like that?
Right.
But then it's only later that you realize that something like that has had a very profound influence in the way you handle your life. So, as an example, my definition of a success or failure is so much internally measured that even occasional setbacks hardly matter as long as I know that I have put in my best to do something. Correct. So that has actually been a very, very big influence. She has always served as a moral compass in decision making. While I was able to make most of my the decisions myself, it is only the reason and how you make that process, the process of
Right.
making that decision. I believe there has been a lot of influence there.
Right.
And I have also been fortunate to really have amazing people that I have worked with, as in not only the managers and mentors, but even some of the folks who were part of my team, and we have worked together for uh, over a decade sometimes. Uh, I believe that there's so much that I have learned from them, and they've influenced the way I would think about not only myself, but generally about how to go about professional life, how to handle things personally. So yeah, I guess if I have to single it out, I would say my mother. But then there have been so many other teachers along the way.
Right, right. Wonderful, wonderful. So we talk. You mentioned success and failures. Somewhere while you were talking about your inspirations. So success, of course, it comes with its own set of challenges, and we all go through ups and downs to reach at the level we all are today. So I'm sure you might have faced challenges in your journey, but what was the motivation factor that kept you going, and how did you deal with all these challenges?
Professionally, so very early in my career, and I came from a consulting background, so I would spend a lot of time on customer locations, working directly with customers. So I remember I was working with this person once. We were trying to build a new system for that organization, and I was helping design that solution to them. And at some point of time, I created some structure and went to him one morning, and I told him that I'm giving you all of these privileged accesses to do things in the system, and that's the thought process.
Mhm.
This person asked me to sit down, and he gave me a very interesting perspective about things. So he said that as in as a head of IT here in that organization, I do not want to have any ability to change anything in the system. So no access to any changing any data or modifying anything. And I was surprised. I mean, how do you really then manage things? And then,
Mhm.
wouldn't you really want to see what your people do? And he said, no, because no matter what, I would never be able to handle things if I take charge of every activity, every transaction. So I just have to work by trusting my team. And I have, as in, I worked there for a good amount of time. We did many wonderful things together, but that has actually stuck with me for long, long years now. And I have always gone with the belief that no matter what, you have to trust your team. And many years, every now and then there are challenging times, but so often if you reflect back, you would realize that it was your team and people that you worked with you who actually have the ability and the power to uh, alleviate that challenge or take you out of a tough situation.
Right.
And I guess I still work with that logic, as in even when as in my first year of becoming a CIO of the organization, I don't remember that I ever as in I never have access to a lot of things there. It's just by instinct and trust on the team that I have learned to really handle all situations, and that has really worked with me. Of course, internally, like I mentioned, my compass of how I measure of failure is very different, even success. So there are often occasions when I don't get elated by something that has gone really well from an outside-in perspective, and at the same time, something that might have been a challenging or not a positive outcome in some cases.
Mhm.
But I am okay with that as long as I know that in general I have put in my best to really reach a proper outcome. So because of that, internally it is rarely a challenge. It
Right.
is, yeah.
Right. So trust your team. You mentioned. So it is like a leadership trait of yours. What other leadership traits that you have, and you would want others also to inherit from you?
Very interesting. One of the things as part of my education, and you might have seen that in the profile also, that I come from a marketing major. there. So very early in my career, I realized that I am really passionate about how I can help customers solve things. Now, customer in a conventional definition, it's not only someone that you are contracting with, but also anyone who's consuming whatever services or products you are responsible for. And so I spent a large number of years in a domain called customer relationship management, building solution software for customers in that space. So how they can help their customers do better and manage those relationships. And I think that has also been part of how I work today. So even in any of my roles, I always feel that there's a team who does the job, and then I am a representative of my customer base, just as part of this team. So even as a CIO, while my team does technology work, I feel that I represent the customers on that team.
Right.
And that actually helps bring a very different perspective in my view. So I think anything that you do, if you continuously are able to focus on what your internal customers or external customers really are looking for, your way of looking at your own job and what's right and what's not right would completely change. And that's one of those areas that I always profess and talk about with the team all the time. Um,
Right, right.
I think that would be the second thing that I would.
Yes, right, right. So, work from home is the new work culture, that we've all gotten used to over the duration of this pandemic. How long do you think organizations would, adopt to this new culture, even post the pandemic?
I think the reality is that it is not changing. As in, I don't see any reason why organizations need to go back to the way of working pre-pandemic at all.
Right. Hmm.
As in, last year has been tough, and again, for a lot of people, it has been a year where there have been personal challenges. However, if you really look at it from an organization perspective or business perspective, you would almost be able to pick out a large list of things which would fall under the category of we never thought it was possible and now this is possible. So it's
Right.
almost like a year of possibilities across organizations. People have realized that things are possible.
Hmm.
Now, if that's how it is, why would you go back and change at all? Correct.
Right.
Uh, I think all organizations are moving only in that direction. As in, there are many terms that you would hear. We talk about a concept called work-life shift. Um, it's a life which is actually undergoing a change. Your work, your personal lives, they would get more and more intertwined. But then organizations are figuring out ways to allow that in a manner where both parties benefit.
Right.
So no longer, as in while we are chatting, if mm, my daughter walks in and comes in a meeting like this, maybe 2 years ago it would have been really not something that you would have wanted. But these days it is very acceptable,
Right.
and
Right.
it's almost encouraged.
Right. Right. Right.
I think this is the direction is really really good that way.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. So, coming to the personal side of yours, how has work from home scenario helped you connect with your family? What are the family activities that you indulge in on weekends or, post working hours? Especially, I would really want to know it from you because you especially mentioned how close you are to your family. So, what do you do with them on the weekends? Any activities, specific activities that you indulge in?
So, as a family, we always like to venture out, as in that's what we always did, and that was not obviously possible during the pandemic. So,
Right.
a lot of activities, as in it's not so much about the specific thing that you do, but being able to do that together is what has really changed. changed from before. As in things that I can recall, your yoga time.
Wow, wonderful.
And then suddenly you would realize that there's so much space in your balcony for plants and greenery. Uh,
Right.
6 months, that's another project that we undertook. Uh, uh, as a family, we decided that why, since we are at home, why don't we paint our home?
Oh, you did that. Wow.
All activities, I think it's just the time that you are able to spend together is more important than the outcome itself.
Right, right. And I think all these activities are very important for you to, connect with your family, and it's like a bonding time for you with your family.
As in, it's almost like you together you have created something, right? So
Right,
in that room, and if you have done all of the hard work to paint it, you see it
right.
every day.
Yes, yes, yes. I totally agree. I don't know if I should ask you this or not, but what are your hobbies? Like you already specified yoga and painting. Now I don't know if to consider it as your hobby or not, but what are your hobbies? And how do you fit them into your schedule?
So it's a tough one because unlike the work that I do, I have not really been able to stick to one particular thing over a period of time. So
Right.
in early days, probably I used to do a lot of reading. Sometime that has kind of become more focused on certain category of books. So it's not, I don't spend as much time reading books as probably I used to do before.
Mhm.
But every now and then I do pick up a area of focus. So for example, at some point of time, I love pencil sketching. Uh,
Wow.
but it's very, very personal, as in very few people have actually seen my work that I have done.
Mhm.
But that's time for me to really internalize and do things that I like. I like music. I like to kind of spend some time playing instruments, even though I may not be really that good at it. But again, that's very, very personal. Uh, and I also like watching old Bollywood movies back from 60s and 70s. Now that's odd, but I do spend some time. I have managed to spend some time during pandemic. It has been really that way, very good. That
Right.
I can watch some old movies as well.
Right. So you mentioned about pencil sketching. Just wanted to know if you maintain a collection of those as well.
So whatever I do, of course, I have that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's really good to know. You have some really interesting hobbies there, sir. So as we are headed to the end of this interview, I would like to ask you one last question. I would want to know, what does a day in the life of Mr. Megan looks like? Here you can share your hobbies you've already shared, any other engaging activities, and how does your day start? How do you end it? And what goes on during the entire day?
So two different shades to that particular question. Uh, while all the great things that have happened during pandemic, one of the things that most IT leaders have gone through last year is that they were at the center of all the action when pandemic happened. As in, suddenly when the lockdown started,
Right.
it was our responsibility to ensure that rest of the organization can continue to work. So
Yes.
quite a bit of time actually went in just ensuring that no one else loses their jobs, so to say. Okay.
Hmm.
So a typical day for at least 6 months was just wake up, calls, and
I
that's
can imagine that.
correct. But then the outcome was really, really good. And so typically, if I was to just describe a normal day, I would spend an hour in either yoga or my morning walk. Mm,
Mhm.
That's always the start of the day. I uh, come back, spend some time with family in the morning because then everyone else starts their day as well. So everyone becomes busy after that in their day. some time with them, have family breakfast, and then start look at what you have in your day.
Right. Check
Correct.
your calendar.
Yes, usually. If time permits, an occasional movie. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so
Wow.
keep going back to some of the old Star Trek episodes and spend some time watching them. Weekends probably more fun. So there were a list of things in my bucket list to learn how to cook and do that. So yeah,
Wow, that's
because you
wonderful.
can't go out, you could actually you can spend some
Yes.
time in that area as well.
So we've actually got to know a very different side of you today, and it was such an amazing conversation. The way you answered all questions, and the ease that you had while answering all these questions and talking about your personal life and, of course, your professional life. That was very engaging conversation with you, sir. And I'm sure that our viewers got some very enriching and some very uh, enlightening insights into your personal and professional life. I deeply enjoyed talking to you and have many things to learn from your experiences. And with that, we come to the end of this Cutting Chai Stories interview. It was great interacting with you, sir. Thank you for answering all my questions. And
Well, thank you for all the questions. It's very rare that I go into my personal life with this kind of detail, but then thanks.